Have you ever felt invisible in a conversation? You're in a group, you smile, you wait for your turn, and when you finally speak, no one really listens. You walk away asking yourself a quiet question. Is it me? Let me tell you something most people never hear. There's nothing wrong with you. You just never learned how to speak so people feel it. I'm not talking about fake confidence or forcing yourself to be loud. I'm talking about something deeper. A way of communicating that makes people pause, pay attention, remember you. The world rewards people who speak with presence, but no one teaches us how to do it. We're told to network or just be confident. But what if you're not naturally outgoing? What if small talk drains you? What if you want real connection, not just surface-level noise? In this video, you're going to learn how to talk to anyone in a way that instantly sets you apart. Not by being someone you're not, but by unlocking the power that's already inside you. And by the end, you'll understand why the most unforgettable communicators are rarely the loudest. You've heard it before. People won't remember what you said. They'll remember how you made them feel. But here's the part we skip. Most people don't make anyone feel anything. They talk fast. They talk about themselves. They chase attention and end up blending into the noise. Think about the last conversation you had that actually stuck with you. Chances are it wasn't because the person was the smartest, but because they were fully there. That's what makes people memorable. Not perfect words, but full presence. And presence doesn't mean being the loudest person in the room. It means being the most grounded. It means you're not trying to impress. You're here to connect. You're not focused on being interesting. You're being interested. That's what creates emotional gravity. And emotional gravity is what makes people remember you. But what blocks that presence? And how do you unlock it?
Here's the truth. You're not struggling with communication because you're shy, or awkward, or bad at talking. You're struggling because of one invisible habit: overthinking. You walk into a room and your brain starts spinning. Do I look okay? Should I say something now? What if I mess this up? That voice in your head gets louder than the actual conversation. So you smile, nod, stay quiet, and later regret it. But let me show you something powerful. The moment you shift your focus from "how am I doing" to "how is the other person feeling?" you stop performing and you start connecting. Great communication begins when you get out of your own head and enter the world of the person in front of you. And here's the magic: you don't have to be loud. You don't have to dominate. You just have to be present enough to make others feel seen. That's a rare skill, and it makes you unforgettable. But how do you actually practice this kind of presence? Let's be honest, most people don't listen. They wait for their turn to talk. But when you truly listen, people feel it. They lean in. They open up. They remember you, even if you said very little. Because being heard is rare. And if you can offer that, you become rare too. Here's how you practice. When someone speaks, stop planning your response. Watch their face. Notice their tone. Ask yourself, what are they really trying to say? Most of communication isn't in words. It's in the spaces between words. When you learn to hear those spaces, you start understanding people in a way most never do. You'll notice the person who smiles while hiding tension. You'll notice the hesitation before someone changes the subject. You'll notice what others miss. And when you reflect that back with one sentence like, "Sounds like that was a hard moment for you," you instantly build trust. That's when real connection happens. And guess what? You didn't need to say much at all. But when it is your turn to talk, how do you make it count? Speaking is an art, but not the kind they teach in school. You don't need big words. You don't need perfect grammar. You need clarity, calm, and courage. Here's what most people do. They talk fast to prove they're smart. They speak more to avoid silence.
They use complicated words to sound important. But the most impactful communicators do the opposite. They pause, they speak slowly, they choose simple words, and they focus on one message at a time. Want to sound confident? Slow down. The fastest way to lose presence is to rush. When you speak with calm and control, people lean in, because calmness is rare, and rare is magnetic. Also, don't be afraid of silence. Silence isn't awkward, it's powerful. Use it. Let your words breathe. Let the moment land. That's how you own a room, even without raising your voice. But what do you do when anxiety hits and your voice disappears?
Let's talk about the thing no one wants to admit. You want to talk to people, but anxiety gets there first. You feel the tension, the overthinking, the pressure to be on. So what do most people do?
They fake it. They force a smile, say something forgettable, walk away feeling more alone than before. But here's the truth. You don't have to fake confidence. You can build something better, real comfort. Here's what comfort looks like. You walk into a room and don't try to prove anything. You focus on one person, not the crowd. You give yourself permission to speak simply. You allow silence to exist without panic. You stop performing and you start being. Confidence doesn't mean, look at me. It means, I'm okay, even if no one is. You don't need to be fearless. You need to be present through the fear. And that's what makes you stand out. Not your charm, but your calm. But what do you actually say to connect instantly? Here's a secret. The most interesting people ask the best questions. Not basic ones. Not, what do you do? Or where are you from? I'm talking about questions that unlock people, that make them feel safe, seen, and alive. The kind that say, I'm actually here with you, not just being polite. Here are a few that work like magic. What's been on your mind lately? What's something you're excited about? When do you feel most like yourself? And here's the part that most people miss. Ask, then pause, then listen. Don't rush to fill the silence. Let them think. Let the answer rise. When you create that kind of space, people open up. They share more than facts. They share themselves. And they'll walk away thinking, wow, that person really got me. Which is exactly what makes you unforgettable. But how do you stay remembered after the conversation ends? Let's be honest. Most conversations are forgettable. Not because people are boring, but because no one takes the extra step. That step? Leaving people with a feeling. So how do you do that? You don't just end the conversation with, nice talking to you. You leave a moment that lingers. It could be a sentence like, thanks for sharing that. It really stuck with me. That story you told, I won't forget it. You made my day better. I mean it. People forget what you do, but they remember how you made them feel. If you can make one person feel truly seen today, you've already communicated better than 99% of people. That's the real flex. But what if you've never felt like a good communicator? Can you still change that? You might be thinking, but I've never been good at this. I'm awkward. I overthink everything. Let me ask you something. Where did you learn that about yourself? Was it one moment in school where you stumbled? One conversation where you felt ignored? One person who made you feel small? Because here's what no one tells you. You can rewrite the story. Being a great communicator isn't something you're born with. It's a skill, a mindset, a choice. And like any skill, you can build it day by day, word by word, moment by moment. It starts with tiny shifts, choosing to ask one deeper question today, letting one silence be okay, speaking 10% slower, smiling at a stranger not to impress, but to connect. You don't have to become someone else. You just have to become more of yourself, out loud.
So what does this all mean when you zoom out?
Let me leave you with this. You don't have to dominate conversations. You don't have to be the most charismatic person in the room. You don't need a booming voice or perfect timing. You just need this: presence. Because presence is rare, and rare is powerful. In a noisy world, silence speaks louder. In a crowded room, calm stands out. In a sea of performance, realness cuts through. You're not here to impress everyone. You're here to connect deeply with a few. And when you do that, you rise. Not because you shouted, but because you spoke in a way that made people feel. So the next time you talk to someone, anyone, remember, you don't need to be loud to be powerful. You just need to be you. Fully, calmly, completely. And that's how you talk to anyone and stand out from 99% of people.